Living Emunah by Rabbi David Asher. Part 8. Bitachon produces miracles. The Chazon Ish writes that a person's bitachon, trust in Hashem, reflects the level of his emunah, faith in Hashem. The more one believes that Hashem runs the world, the more this belief will be expressed through his actions and through the extent in which he places his trust in Hashem. A nephew of the great Rav Nissim Jagon related a remarkable story about his illustrious uncle, which he personally witnessed. He had visited his uncle in his office, and Rav Nissim mentioned that he needed to pay the salaries of his kollel that day. "Do you have the money to pay the salaries?" the nephew asked. "Actually," Rav Nissim replied, "I am $23,000 short." "So what are you going to do?" the nephew asked. "Hashem has never let me down in the past," Rav Nissim said, "and I'm sure that today will be no different." "But even if somebody comes in right now and hands you a check," the nephew persisted, "you still need a few days for the funds to be available." "You don't think Hashem can provide me with cash?" the uncle rhetorically asked. The nephew described how on that day Rav Nissim conducted his affairs as though everything was perfectly normal. He spent the usual hours learning, he delivered shiurim, and he helped people who needed him. There was no worry, no concern, nor anxiety. Rav Nissim went about his business with full confidence that Hashem would provide the funds he needed. Toward the end of the day, the nephew grew even more curious. After all, there were only a few hours left for Rav Nissim to pay the salaries. Rav Nissim went to his office, and the nephew heard him speak to Hashem. "Hashem, you know that this is your kollel, not mine. I do not need this for myself, but for you." Rav Nissim then left his room and assured the nephew that everything would be just fine. At the very moment, a man ran into the room, dropped the satchel on the table and left. Rav Nissim opened the satchel and sure enough, it contained $23,000 in cash. He took the money and paid the salaries. 2 years later, Rav Nissim was in Baltimore and he came across a fellow who looked vaguely familiar. He introduced himself and asked if perhaps they once met. "No, we never met," the man said. Rav Nissim persisted until finally the man divulged that they indeed saw each other once. He was the mystery man who had dropped the satchel of money on Rav Nissim's desk that day. The man related that he had been in Eretz Israel for his father's first yahrzeit, and after visiting the gravesite, he was feeling down, and so he returned to his hotel to take a nap. As he slept, his father came to him in a dream and said, "Why are you sleeping? Rav Jagan needs $23,000. The man did not even know who Rav Jagan was, and so he immediately went down to the lobby to begin asking around to fulfill his father's instructions. He met a friend who happened to be in Eretz Israel on business. The friend mentioned that he had just completed a large, profitable deal, and he now found himself with lots of cash that he did not want to carry around. "Perfect," the man told his friend. "I need cash. Give me some and I will pay you back when we get to US." He took $23,000 in cash and immediately brought it to Rav Nissim. Hashem's salvation can come suddenly in the most unexpected ways. The most noteworthy aspect of this story is Rav Nissim's calm, relaxed approach. He did not allow the problem to get him frazzled or upset. He went about his business with complete trust and faith in Hashem. As the Pasuk says, "He who trusts in Hashem, kindness will surround him." Tehillim 32:10.